It's incredible! This multifunctional smokeless portable fireplace. It can be made with just a few sections of square pipe. It is small and beautiful, easy to carry. It can be used both indoors and outdoors. Don't look at its small size, but the firepower is very strong. Barbecue cooking, boiling water and heating can do everything. Due to the unique design of the combustion chamber, no need to fan the wind. The fire can be very strong. Greatly reduces cooking time, reduces the amount of fuel used. The smoke that is not completely burned. Burning again at high temperatures when exposed to oxygen. Make the combustion more fully, so there is no smoke at all. Winter in the indoor fire while grilling. Today I'll share the production process with you. First of all, bring 3 sections of 100 mm diameter square pipe. Sand the cut surface smooth. On one of the square tube, cut out an L-shaped notch. Make a square hole at the other end. Weld a box on it. Make it look like this. Make a round hole in the other square tube. Weld a piece of round steel pipe on it. Weld the 3 square tubes with open holes together. The internal holes must be aligned. Make them form a whole combustion chamber. Weld one end of the square tube with a small piece of cut steel. Be sure to weld carefully. Make sure the square tube is sealed. After welding, polish the outside welding points smoothly. Weld 2 clips on both sides of the square tube. Put the finished cover on it. Then you can seal the hole on the other side of the square tube. Punch a round hole in the cover plate. Weld the air inlet adjustment valve in the location of the open hole. This valve can be bought in general hardware stores. Weld a handle on the valve. Easy to adjust the air intake. Open a rectangular opening on the side of the square tube. Take a pre-made metal frame. Weld half of the frame to the square pipe opening. The other half is fixed with a flap. Can be easily opened and closed. Use a useless chain and a small piece of iron. Make a fire pole. Fold a steel plate into a concave shape, welded to the square tube. Fold another L-shaped steel plate. Weld the handle to the top. Make this multifunctional storage compartment like a drawer, used for storage and baking food. Weld 2 foldable oven legs on the bottom of the square tube. Weld the L-shaped angle iron to the edge of the steel plate. Weld a pin box on the oven body. This way you can put the steel plate together on the body of the stove. To increase the area of use, put a steel plate on each side of the furnace body. This will give you more space to use. Weld 2 handles on both sides of the stove. Easy to move later. Weld a steel mesh on one end of a square tube with wire. Make a wood pellet burning box. Here the whole stove is formed. Spray the outside of the stove with fireproof paint. Further enhance its appearance. Put some parts into the storage compartment. You can see the storage function of this stove. Very powerful. 2 burners, 2 table racks, and the exhaust pipe can be easily put in. The whole stove is very compact. Doesn't take up much space at all. Pick it up and go. You can use wood pellets for fuel. You can also use firewood directly. The firepower is very high. Cooking and heating is no problem. This stove also uses the principle of secondary combustion, using the chimney effect to pump air into the inner stove. Continuous circulation, so it has more firepower than the ordinary wood stove. Burning more fully. No firewood and almost no smoke. What do you think? Welcome to discuss in the comments section. If you like it, please like it and bookmark it. Share interesting small inventions every day. See you next. Ever thought firewood stove can also be made portable? Simple and elegant appearance, powerful interior, really is a good thing for outdoor camping. Necessary hands-on ability of small partners can try to make the next production tutorial to give you. First of all, a scrap of 10 cm diameter square pipe. Measure the length of a section of 25 cm and 40 cm. Draw a mark. Use an angle grinder to remove them separately. On the bottom 1.5 cm of the 40 cm section, draw a mark. Cut off the corresponding 2 sides. Then use the prepared rebar welded to the inside of the steel pipe. Grind out 2 traces. Remember not to break. Fold the sanded area 90 degrees. Find a piece of iron plate. Take off a piece of the same size as the bottom of the square tube. Weld on the chain for backup. Weld the other side with an iron rod so that the baffle will not be out of position. Next, draw a line down the middle of the short one. Use a thicker grinder to cut along the line, and then together to weld up. Do the same for the other side. This gives us a smaller diameter square tube. Cut a slant out of the smaller pipe. Take out 2 small pieces of iron and set them aside. Find the spot where the dust falls. Use a file to grind out 2 small holes. Put the small pieces of iron, welded to the small square tube bevel position. This way the 2 will be stuck and will not fall off. Cut out the middle part. Let the space open up. Next is the fixed position of the bracket. Punch 3 holes in the corresponding positions. Weld the nut inside. Tighten the screw. Weld the bracket well, so that it will not be deformed. Add a movable cover to the entrance. Fix the lorry spring. Finally welded with a chain. A carrying bag. Thus a portable fireplace is completed. Let's go to the field to see how effective. Assembly is also very convenient and quick. Add firewood and ignite. Try the bottom and entrance baffle. You can control the size of the fire. The effect looks pretty good. This guy is really a genius. He actually used the discarded iron pot at home to transform it into a wood-burning stove. The fire is very powerful. After cooking food can also be grilled. Simply too good. Now share the production process with you. First, find a discarded iron pot. Use the model to draw the mark. Cut out the entrance to the wood and ash opening. Then use a whetstone to polish smooth and wipe clean. Next is sprayed with anti-rust paint to prevent rusting. Then prepare 4 wheels mounted on the bottom. After spraying paint looks like a new one. Then fill in a layer of cement and smooth. Put in foam and 2 red bricks. Then add a few rebar bars. The gap between the bars can play a role of dust. Then put 2 pieces of foam at the entrance of the material. Put in a plastic bucket to make a shape. Fill the surrounding with cement. After the cement is completely dry, we remove all the plastic buckets and foam. A simple and practical wood-burning stove. And now it's a success. Very small and light. It doesn't take up much space in the house. The charcoal left after burning food can also be used for barbecue. Simply great. If you like it, please like to follow us. Brainstorming. The guy cut an oil drum and transformed it. Surprisingly turned into a large firepower mobile wood stove. The function is also a lot of. Barbecue and cooking can be all kinds of things. Cold weather can also be used as a grill. This is really a good invention. The following small. Will share the production process to your friends. First prepare a large oil drum. Cut it in the bottom third. Then cut a 18 centimeters high, 28 cm wide mouth. Then cut off the iron to make a switch door. Then install the 2 handles. Easy to move. Then cut 4 aluminum tubes to weld them together. For welding place to install a few movable wheels. The base of the wood stove is complete. Then fix the oil drum on the chassis. Next is to add some cement mortar and smooth it out. In order not to lose the temperature inside the stove too fast, we need to place red bricks on the bottom and around. After finishing, apply cement evenly on the surrounding red bricks. The next step is to cut a round steel plate. Weld on the handle and exhaust pipe. Then place it on the finished stovetop. Look at the oil drum mobile multifunctional wood-burning stove is successfully transformed. Isn't it very good? Then put in the dry firewood. After the firewood is completely burned, we put a wireframe can grill some food. Put on the production of round steel plate. Then you can cook rice and boil vegetables and soup. Such a wood stove is multifunctional and can be moved. It's really convenient and practical. So perfect. Such a creative invention, using only 1 iron barrel to make a fierce fire stove. Once the finished product, everyone was amazed. Let's see how to make. First, prepare a barrel. Draw a mark on it. Then use a grinder to cut against the mark. While cutting, pay attention to safety. Do not be distracted to avoid injury to yourself. Then find a hollow right-angle iron pipe as a smoke exhaust pipe, slightly trimmed and polished. Then install it on. Then prepare cement and yellow clay. Add some water and mix well. Mix the concrete and lay it on the bottom of the barrel. Press it smoothly. Then continue to fill the soil mixture along the inner wall. When the soil is as high as the firewood inlet, then you can put in the ashfall steel frame. Then continue to lay the soil. Put a steel bar near the top of the firewood entrance. It is used to support the soil. Then install the smoke exhaust pipe. Trim the position of the stove mouth. The whole process is complete. Finally, use a towel to wipe the exterior of the barrel clean. Put it all together to dry. We can see that this wood-burning stove is very small. Can also be placed elsewhere at any time. Very light and so practical oven. Use the extra iron barrels and porcelain steel at home to create a multifunctional oven. The finished product is a shock. Next, I'll share the production process. Share with you. First prepare a good porcelain steel. Clean it well. Then make a mark on the bottom with a pot lid. Cut out large round holes. Be sure to pay attention to the strength and technique. Avoid damage. Then use an angle grinder in the porcelain steel pot mouth edge position to cut out a few small slits. These 4 slits are used to place the roast meat place. You can also cut a few more. Then you can put more meat skewers. Find a metal bucket. Use a half-round paper block on the side to draw a pattern. This is the location location of the ash opening under the grill. Then use the sander to cut the lines. Then prepare the cement and yellow clay. Pour in a little water and mix well. After grasping well, apply the clay to the bottom and edges of the barrel. This will achieve a long-lasting insulation. It can also prevent the effect of cracking. Place 8 steel bars inside to make the ash leak for the fireplace. Then use a little water. Smooth the yellow clay inside the fireplace. After drying, the whole interior looks flat and beautiful. The process of making the oven is almost complete. Next, we put some black charcoal in the oven. Set it on fire. Then put the modified porcelain jar on the top. An oven that can roast meat. Cooking oven is now complete. After we roast the meat, remove the porcelain when you can cook vegetables and boil water. Very practical and convenient. Operation is also very simple. If you like it, please like to follow, share interesting invention.